Hi everyone, good Thursday morning to you and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. Hope you and yours have had a nice holiday season thus far. I'm still on vacation, but the weather never takes a vacation. We got a lot of winter weather to talk about over the next several days. Now, please refer to my post that I made this morning on social media for kind of just a quick rundown of the individual items that we're going to talk about in this video. My thoughts really haven't changed much since I put that post online earlier on this Thursday morning. I'm recording this video at about 10:20 a.m. on Thursday, and here's what the radar looked like as we headed towards midday. Now, the rest of our Thursday looks pretty uneventful. There's going to be some passing flurries. The lake effect today is more aimed along the immediate lake shore and into northwest PA, parts of southwest New York, but around our TV viewing area, pretty much innocuous flurries for the most part for the rest of our Thursday. Now, it is cold outside, and boy, get used to this. We're going to talk about temperatures at the end of this video, but a current look at temperatures, everyone's below freezing. We're going to stay below freezing today. We may not see freezing again for a few weeks or something like that, so we'll talk about the longer range again coming up later on in this video. But let's talk about what's going to happen as we go into the short term. Again, rest of our Thursday, not much more than innocuous flurries. This is a simulated radar, model radar, showing what the radar will look like as we go into the afternoon. Yeah, there'll be some lake effect aimed at Erie, PA, Crawford County, PA, also still under the gun for some heavier lake effect snow showers. But in our TV viewing area, things get a little more interesting overnight tonight. And this is not going to be lake effect what occurs overnight tonight. This is a weak weather disturbance that'll pinwheel on through and bring a general snowfall to the area. In other words, it's not lake effect. Everyone's going to try to get about the same amounts out of this. And so this can impact the Friday morning commute. I realize a lot of people still have Friday off, just a couple of days after New Year's. So the traffic on area roads will not be kind of at typical levels for a Friday morning. But anybody does need to be out Friday morning. It's not going to be all the snow in the world, but this can stick to surfaces with as cold as it's going to be. And the steady snow will last a few hours, getting underway sometimes, say, between 4 and 7 a.m., something like that. And then the steady snow kind of winds down towards 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I think everyone in our viewing area has a chance to at least see a fresh coating out of this. Best chance for maybe 2 or 3 inches. Your best chance maybe down towards Route 39, southern Columbiana County, and heading over towards Carrollton, over towards Dover, New Philly, and then maybe into the panhandle of West Virginia and over into Beaver County, PA. That may be the stripe where you have the best chance late tonight into Friday morning of picking up maybe 2 or 3 inches. A lot of us are going to see a coating to an inch or so out of this, but maybe there's a localized area with some slightly higher amounts. So again, use caution no matter where you are Friday morning. Now, once we get done with this steady snow that, again, everyone's going to get late tonight, first thing Friday morning, this becomes more of a lake-enhanced or lake effect kind of a regime for the rest of Friday and a fair amount of Friday night as well. And, kind of the usual drill when it comes to lake effect can be expected here. Changeable conditions. All of a sudden, you're in a whiteout, and then a minute later, it's not even snowing anymore. The ground gets covered in a hurry. Snow rates could be locally quite impressive under some of these bands Friday into Friday night. If you got a band that decides to sit over your neighborhood for an hour, you might pick up a couple inches of snow in just an hour, just depending on, where you are. And, the moisture fetch off of Lake Erie will be given a little bit of an assist in some of these bands from Lake Huron and even all the way over towards western Michigan. Those western Michigan enhanced bands will be a little more aimed in western Ohio. But, this will be, the kind of situation in which it's not just Lake Erie that's contributing to the lake effect for parts of northern Ohio and northwest PA. The lake effect and lake enhanced regime, again, with us for a lot of Friday and a lot of Friday night. We're going to fast forward the clock to daybreak on Saturday. At this point, things will try to be winding down, but, I think there can still be some localized, decent snow bands out there Saturday morning, first thing in the morning. I would expect the lake effect machine to kind of transition to just flurries as Saturday wears on. But again, from midday Friday through about daybreak or so on Saturday, that's a window in which there's going to be some localized amounts that are pretty impressive out of this. This is a pretty good setup with very cold air blowing over the relatively warm Great Lakes. And once we're into early January, when we say relatively warm Great Lakes, that just means they're not frozen. They're not warm by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not frozen over. There's some patchy ice, of course, on Lake Erie, but not much, considering that December ended on such a mild note. So how much can we expect out of that lake effect? Again, refer to my post from this morning for a breakdown of this in kind of a text format, but I think the lake effect and lake enhanced portion of this, again, midday Friday through about daybreak or so on Saturday, I think a general 1 to 3 inches can be expected. I'm not going to be surprised, though, if 3, 4, 5, 6 inch amounts occur where bands persist. Now, the best chance of that, maybe, kind of in a zone like this, so including maybe Cortland, Mesopotamia, Kinsman, Greenville, maybe over towards Mercer, Grove City, maybe Slippery Rock, those kind of zones. You might have the best chance in those zones of picking up 3, 4, 5, even 6 inches worth of snow from the lake effect. But could someone see a few inches of lake effect all the way down, maybe to Route 224? Yeah, I think that's possible. It's just your best chance of picking up some of those higher totals will lie off to the north. So that's the lake effect. Again, a general snow tonight, late tonight, and first thing Friday morning, more of a lake effect, lake enhanced regime from midday Friday through Saturday morning. Now let's talk about the storm for early next week. Now this is a bona fide winter storm that will be traversing kind of the I-70 corridor primarily. This is the European model, and we're going to fast forward here to midday on Sunday. Now this will be a big ice event for parts of Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky, so Louisville, St. Louis, places like that. But on the northern edge of this, it'll be cold enough both down at the ground and aloft for snow as opposed to some sort of wintry mix. So in a place like Indianapolis, Dayton, probably Columbus as well, I think you're in a zone in kind of that I-70 corridor where you're going to do pretty well when it comes to snowfall totals. Now in our viewing area, Northeast Ohio and Northwest PA, this is more of a late Sunday night into Monday issue. I think during the daylight hours Sunday we'll have uneventful, just cold weather. But I think snow will try to graze us Sunday night. Now I'm gonna, phrase this as kind of a grazing situation for us, but I do think it can be impactful, despite the highest snowfall totals likely being aimed from about I-70 on south, or maybe up to Route 30 and on south. I do think that our viewing area can be clipped by enough snow late Sunday night into Monday morning and midday for there to be some impacts. And keep in mind, of course, a lot of school districts resume classes on Monday. A lot of people who had an extended holiday break with the holidays falling in the middle of the week this time, maybe going back to work on Monday. And again, a big blockbuster snowstorm for us doesn't seem real likely. That's more likely in a place like Columbus, Zanesville, Dayton, maybe as far north as Wheeling, Steubenville, maybe. But in our viewing area, if we get a couple or a few inches at a bad time of the day, Monday morning, that can still be impactful. Now, the storm will then push away as we go into Monday afternoon. So again, I think this is a very late Sunday night and Monday morning midday-ish kind of a thing for us when it comes to this system. Now, we're not going to put out an official snow forecast for that Sunday night and Monday system just yet. We may come out with a map Friday evening, or maybe we'll wait till Saturday morning even, because one storm at a time. We've got some general snow tonight and then the lake effect to contend with, and we don't want to confuse people by putting out all sorts of forecasts for all sorts of different storms. But I'm going to show you a couple of graphics here that illustrate the odds of 3 inches or more worth of snow with that winter storm late Sunday night into Monday. Again, the odds highest in the brighter colors off to our south, but taken literally, this is the European model, it would suggest that there's maybe a 40 to 50% chance of up to 3 inches up into our viewing area, especially our southern viewing area. I think this storm is definitely going to favor, areas probably south of Route 224. So think southern Mahoning County, southern Lawrence County, Columbiana County, Beaver County, PA, probably favored for some heavier amounts as opposed to Trumbull County and Mercer County, and maybe northern Mahoning County. So that's the European model, and other models are they have the same idea or very similar ideas. This is the GFS model, showing odds of 3 inches or more, highest down towards I-70, but decent-ish odds of 3 inches or more up into our viewing area, again, especially our southern viewing area. And, so it's not like this is going to be a foot snowstorm or anything like that. We're not expecting anything of that magnitude, but I do think this can be enough to be impactful for Monday morning's commute. I'm going to finish talking about temperatures here. This is a model depiction of high and low temperatures over the next 10 days, and notice we don't get above freezing according to this suite of model data, and other models are kind of very similar. This is going to be probably our first colder than average month, legitimately colder than average month, any month, since the summer of 23, and it's probably going to be our coldest January in 3 years. since January of 2022. I think there's going to be some days in the mix here where we have a hard time getting above 20 during the day. Overnight lows will be dependent on sky cover. A lot of times in January, when you get these really cold air masses, it's pretty cloudy, so the temperatures don't get a chance to bottom out at night. But if we get a couple of nights where the sky goes partially clear and there's some snow on the ground, those temperatures can really plummet. But, this is, not the coldest January we've ever had or anything like that. But this is a long stretch, the likes of which we haven't seen for a few years around here. I see comments on social media all the time when we talk about cold in January, where people say, it's January, it's winter, it's supposed to be cold. But we try to, of course, couch these terms and advertise things in relation to average. January's our coldest time of the year on average. It's the climatological bottom. So when we're talking about colder than average temperatures in January, it's going to be pretty cold because it's, the long-term averages are at their coldest in January. So this is going to be pretty impressive over the next couple or few weeks. It'll come probably with some winter weather chances. Do I see a lot of big storms on the horizon? Not necessarily big. I think this air mass looks impressively cold enough that the storm track will be suppressed a little bit to the south. We're going to have our chances for clippers and lake effect and maybe one or two decent storms, but this kind of a setup in January, a lot of times the storm track just goes a little bit too far to the south for us to cash in with some really big-time totals. But whatever happens, we'll keep you apprised on social media and on our newscasts. Again, I'm on vacation through the end of the week, so meteorologist Andrew DePaulo will have your updated forecast this evening on 21 News at 5, 6, and 11. In the short term, meteorologist Jody White is on 21 News midday coming up at noon. She'll have everything you need to know for the rest of the day. And into the weekend, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents or more onto a video blog on this Thursday morning. I'll probably do more video blogs over the next few days to get my thoughts out there while I'm still technically on vacation. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll talk to you later on.